Right now, on to the point. A nationwide walkout targeting President Trump's immigration crackdowns.
We're sick of our people getting killed in the street.
A partial government shutdown looms for this weekend, and it will be impacting TSA employees. How it'll affect travel coming in and out of Sacramento International Airport.
Time is running out if you need health insurance. What you need to know before tomorrow's deadline. And on the back roads,
they drive by, they see it, and they stop.
The place to go for unique yard decor.
Protesters across the U.S., including here in Northern California, went on strike today to oppose the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Demonstrators called for no work, no school, no shopping. And today's protests come almost a week after Alex Preddy was killed by federal officers. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and we do have some new information tonight on the death of Alex Preddy. Today, the Justice Department announced that it opened a federal civil rights probe into his death. The FBI will lead that investigation. But meanwhile, back here in Sacramento, students from campuses across the county came together to protest at the Capitol. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras spoke to some of them today.
With backpack straps still weighing on their shoulders and signs in their hands, these young protesters marched in around 11.
We just got here about 10 minutes ago. We left school in the first period.
And by noon at California's Capitol, that one group turned into...
I'm amazed by the turnout. I thought it was going to be less than this, but I'm glad that some kids are out here.
Tamir Knox and his classmates took the light rail to get there from John F. Kennedy High.
Pretty packed light rail, pretty packed bus, but we got here, and we're here, and we're going to protest.
Because for students like Tamir, their backpacks aren't the only things weighing heavy.
We're sick of our people getting killed in the street. We are sick of people getting detained for being American citizens. We want justice, and we want it now.
Killing citizens without a right to, it's just unnecessary, and we as a country need to communicate a more humane message.
That message, according to protest organizers, calls for the abolition of ICE and for city council members to reaffirm Sacramento's sanctuary city status.
They're killing families, they're taking families, It's not good. We're being peaceful, holding our signs, we're not throwing stuff, we're not doing anything bad,
Say it once, say it twice, we will not put up with ICE.
The CHP and SAC PD on standby in case. In a statement, Sacramento City Unified said it supports students exercising their First Amendment rights, adding that while the protest was said to be a district-wide event, it was not organized or endorsed by the district. Students participating were marked absent.
So we should be together. We should be able to come out here and protest because that's our First Amendment right.
It's important to stand out here.
What started with groups of students Friday that quickly became crowds
No peace, no justice, no peace.
Turned the heart of California's capital into a classroom.
I love to see kids out here advocating for themselves.
It's very powerful. It shows that we have a voice and we're going to use our voice. And if we don't see something that's right, we're going to stand up for it.
In Sacramento, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
And Sac City Unified School District said that parents will need to contact their schools regarding their child's absence if they were out of class for the protests today. But it has been a very busy week for the California legislature as lawmakers addressed increased immigration enforcement. Political analysts saying that the legislature's response is reflective of California's pushback against the Trump administration. California Democrats have proposed at least a dozen immigration-related bills. The week began with a visibly packed stage of Democratic senators and assembly members standing in solidarity with Minnesota. Just on Thursday, in a no-camera press gaggle, 12 assembly members briefed reporters on their respective anti-ICE bills. Now, we spoke with some of the legislators individually on their efforts to limit ICE's influence.
Prevent rental car companies from renting vehicles for immigration enforcement activities.
That means they can't use state parking lots to stage for raids. It means that they can't force us to be complicit.
There are also bills in the works to prohibit those who have engaged in immigration enforcement activity, like working for ICE, from serving as law enforcement, including peace officers or educators in California.
Senate Democrats joined the American people in demanding real change when it comes to ICE and its behavior.
And that is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer speaking just moments after the Senate voted just a couple hours ago to fund most of the government through the end of September. So the spending bill funds 3/4 of government agencies through the end of September. However, the Department of Homeland Security only gets 2 weeks worth of funding. Democrats demanded the short-term funding for DHS as a way to give Congress more time to negotiate long-term changes to ICE. It will now head to the House, which is not due back until Monday. That means that there could potentially be a partial government shutdown temporarily over the weekend. But I want to bring in ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen. She has been following this throughout the entire day and joins us right now with what some local federal workers are now saying.
Well, Alex, in short, the union that represents TSA workers here at Sacramento International Airport is remaining hopeful that Congress will be able to figure out a solution to keep the government open, but say that there could be impacts if this funding fight drags on.
The yeas are 71, the nays are 29. The bill, as amended, has passed.
On Friday evening, U.S. senators approved a package of bills to keep the government funded. Following Democrats' demands, they set aside a funding deal for the Department of Homeland Security. That vote is expected to happen in 2 weeks.
Members are working on moving forward on a deal to fund the government and working on legislation desperately needed to rein in ICE's abuses.
On Friday, some Republican lawmakers pointed fingers at their own party after a failed vote on Thursday.
The reason why we're not moving forward today doesn't have anything to do with the Democrats. It has to do with a handful of Republicans who are refusing to let us move forward.
One of Friday's no votes on the spending deal was California Democratic Senator Adam Schiff taking to social media saying he wants to see real reforms within Homeland Security.
Real reforms, and not just promises of reforms, but statutory requirements that attack these mass sweeps against the opposition of mayors and governors.
At the Sacramento Airport, Union President James Mudrock with the American Federation of Government Employees Local 1230 says,
"It's very disappointing that we can't come to a resolution on this. Our people are not pawns."
After the union's TSA workers recently went without pay during the last government shutdown of 43 days, members endured financial strain.
They're people with families and to take care of, mortgages, rent payments, car payments, all that kind of thing.
Even though they're expecting a shutdown through the weekend, they say they're dedicated to their work and making sure travelers don't feel impacted.
I believe that passengers will not see an impact on this. Our people will be at work. Our people are dedicated to public safety and security of the transportation system and protecting the public.
And I reached out to SMF for comment and have not yet heard back. Again, that House vote on this new spending deal could come on Monday, Alex.
All right, Janie, but speaking of traveling, heads up if you are flying soon, starting this Sunday, February 1st, airline passengers who show up at the airport security without a real ID or other valid ID will face a $45 fee if they still want to board. A real ID is one that has specifically been vetted by the DMV. Other authorized forms of ID include a passport or DHS trusted traveler card, such as a global entry card. New legislation announced today would give more money to reproductive health care providers. So Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas and Senate President Pro Tem Monique Limon are proposing $90 million in general fund appropriation grants to reproductive health care providers like Planned Parenthood. Now, this would be an increase from the $60 million proposed by Governor Gavin Newsom in his budget plan. Still ahead on To the Point, a last call for health coverage. The deadline to enroll through Covered California is tomorrow. What it means for your wallet. And then a look at California's snowpack and what it could mean for your water supply.
And there's no more snow in the near future, although I do have some more dense fog. Temperatures next week, though. Get ready for a little taste of spring. I've got those details after the break.
But first, in other headlines tonight, more than 3 million pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein were released today. The Justice Department disclosed more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. This is part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which requires the government to reveal what investigators knew about Epstein's sexual abuse of young girls and his connections to the rich and powerful. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon was charged today with federal civil rights crimes. This is in connection to an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church. Lemon's attorney says that he was acting as a journalist, not as a protester, but Justice Department officials say Lemon had no right to be on private church property. And Emmy Award-winning actress Catherine O'Hara has died. Her agency announced that the 71-year-old died today in her Los Angeles home after a brief illness. O'Hara was known for her roles on Schitt's Creek and the Home Alone films. She is survived by her husband, 2 sons, and 6 siblings.
We are getting a new look today at the Sierra snowpack. This helps determine the amount of water that will melt and run off to state reservoirs. The Department of Water Resources reports that the state is at 46% of average for this time, with the state average slightly better at 59% for this time of the year. Officials say while precipitation is above average, we still need more storms and more snow. And on that note, let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef for a look at all of this.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had some normal-ish winters recently, which is kind of helping us with soil moisture and whatnot. It's not like we've had super dry years in the past several years, but you can see how snowpack on January 30th compares to prior years. I mean, last year on January 30th, we had 67% of normal to date, 54% in 2024. Remember the big winter of 2022 to 2023? On January 30th, 2023, we had 211% of a normal snowpack on January 30th. So that's obviously an outlier. Yeah, we need more snow is the bottom line here, because especially when we look at that percent of April 1st average statewide, it's 36% today. So essentially we have a third of snow up there that we would hope to have. So we definitely need some more. Unfortunately, there's none on the way anytime soon, certainly not over the next 7 to 10 days. As we look at highs today, we had some sunshine coming back, made it above 60 degrees once again. 61 in Sacramento, 63 in Stockton, 63 in Modesto, 64 in Placerville. Those temperatures about 5 degrees warmer than normal for late January. Temperatures at the moment in the low to middle 50s in the valley, 57 Placerville, mid 30s in the high country. Looking towards downtown, fog free for the time being, but as we go through the evening and into the overnight, we are going to see that fog coming back. Temperatures starting off tomorrow morning near 40 degrees across most of the valley with some dense fog. We've got another dense fog advisory. Begins at midnight, continues until noon tomorrow. High temperatures tomorrow, I've got 61 in Sacramento, 63 Stockton, 62 in Modesto, mid to even upper 60s, especially through the mother lode. 68 in Angels Camp, 70 in Sonora, 56 in Truckee, and 52 in Tahoe. Pretty similar temperatures, honestly, both Saturday and Sunday, both days. Pretty similar. We'll have fog in the morning and then a mix of sun and clouds as we go through the afternoon. So you see some of those clouds passing through on Saturday, continuing through Sunday. And the reason for those clouds, that little low pressure off the coast. It's going to stay north of us, though, as it moves into the Pacific Northwest, and that's all because high pressure continues to keep that storm door closed and is not allowing any storms to work into Northern California. So morning fog, passing clouds through the afternoon, a little bit above normal through the weekend. Look at temperatures next week, though. I was talking about that little taste of spring. Mid to even upper 60s possible, especially by the end of the week, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, an ABC 10 investigation triggers major action. 2 local charter schools lose their charters after auditors found more than $180 million taxpayer dollars were misspent. And then we hit the back roads, wild animals, aliens, and larger-than-life statues. The unusual roadside business turning heads and drawing drivers from miles away. Welcome back in. Twin Rivers Unified School District passed 2 resolutions in a special board meeting just this afternoon. The unanimous votes confirmed the final decision to revoke the charters for Highlands Community Charter School and the California Innovative Career Academy. An ABC 10 investigation prompted a state audit that found Highlands received more than $180 million in taxpayer funds it was not eligible to collect. Our investigation also uncovered uncredentialed teachers, unapproved campuses, and taxpayer money spent on luxury trips and gifts.
It's difficult to lose a valuable resource in the community. However, it's just because they've just not managed their business well. So they've wound up hurting the taxpayers quite a bit.
In a statement, Highlands said that the school remains open for the rest of the year and that classes will continue as normal. Highlands has 30 days to appeal. and we will keep you covered. Now, if you have not seen this investigation, you can head over to our free ABC 10 app and look for the Wild West of education. It is completely free to download and watch on your TV right now. And tomorrow is the last day to sign up for health care insurance through Covered California. Your coverage would start on February 1st, and this is for those who are not already covered by other insurance options, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, or even your employer. So Covered California says that after Congress failed to extend federal subsidies, the cost of premiums and deductibles skyrocketed as expected. According to the latest data, there has been a 97% increase in premiums statewide, which translates to $125 a month, and many are canceling coverage as a result of all of this. Per Covered California, as of last week, total enrollees was down by 2% from this time last year, and new signups down 32% from this time last year. The count of renewals is also expected to decrease as consumers cancel plans.
Now, the California senators are on board, but not the Republican senators across the nation. If that were to happen even today, as late as it is, this thing could be unwound and people could once again have an affordable health insurance program.
And that is Democratic Congressmember John Garamendi breaking down the battle over health care on Capitol Hill. All House Democrats and a handful of Republicans passed a bill which extends the subsidies for 3 years, but it is stuck in the Senate. A reminder, if you do not have health insurance, again, if you do not have health insurance, you will have to pay a penalty at tax time. It's about $950 for adults and $450 for each dependent child. Well, President Trump says that he is nominating former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh to replace Jerome Powell as Federal Reserve Chair after his term ends in May. Now, Warsh has historically supported higher interest rates to control inflation. He's also called for overhauling the central bank's workforce. The Senate Banking Committee will consider Warsh's nomination through a public hearing. After that, the Senate chamber will vote on whether or not to confirm him. Now, Republican Senator Tom Tillis, who is on the confirmation committee, has vowed to block any new Fed chair nominee until the DOJ drops its investigation into Powell. Coming up next, right in the back roads, we're going way out west to a business drivers cannot resist. You never know what you'll see on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel takes us to the roadside store with life-size statues.
Just off Interstate 90, right outside of Spokane, Washington, there's a place where wild beasts and angry animals roam free. This is way out west. At first glance, Mike Ferguson's front yard looks a bit like a tourist attraction or maybe an odd art gallery. In fact, it's both of those things. But more importantly, Mike's front yard, and backyard for that matter, is a business.
I don't get attached to anything.
Okay.
Everything's for sale.
Mike is in the statue yard art business, and he has acres of out-of-this-world inventory. Where do these come from? Where do you pick them up? Who's making these?
Well, we have some mold designers that we work with, and then it's a foundry out of Peru that we use.
Unlike most businesses, Mike doesn't advertise, and according to Mike, he doesn't have to.
Right there. They drive by. They see it and they stop.
The business model is simple. Drivers on I-90 pass by and see something they like, and then pull in. There's no entry fee, and there's a little something for everyone here. Silly statues, animal statues, mythical statues, and historical statues that are not exactly anatomically correct. You've covered him up for the children, I assume, or?
Well, no, we would not cover any historical statue, but they cast his anatomy a little different than the original David.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking baked potatoes. Yeah.
In his former life, Mike was a registered nurse. He got into selling antiques in the late 1990s and discovered that many of his clients wanted statues. Mike did some research and learned that he could order custom aluminum statues at an affordable price. These aren't for the ultra-rich, then?
No, they were historically. You wanted a statue in your yard, that was a status thing. And then now it's kind of bringing it to the common person.
Affordable and sturdy. Mike says aluminum lasts a lot longer in the elements compared to marble statues, and they double as playground equipment.
The kids just love, running in and out of the spaceship and climbing on statues.
From way out west in Spokane, Washington, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
As always, thank you so much for watching and for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think the team and I should be looking into, you can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And don't forget, you can always download our free ABC10 app straight to your TV. Have a great night. I'll see you on Monday.